I'll call the meeting order. With everybody, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and moments of silence. Tyson, if you can lead us off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Our meeting for Wednesday, January 18th, 2026. First thing on the agenda.
Is that my agenda?
Not here. Let you put it in yours. I don't have any others.
No, wait, I got it. I'm sorry. I'm good.
The administrative board reports.
We had a
Oh, I'm sorry.
agenda. 1C.
1C. I've already called the meeting to order.
Yes, but we got to approve the agenda.
Yeah.
Yes. Motion to approve the agenda?
I will second.
Okay.
Motion from Sam, seconded from Tyson to approve the agenda as submitted. Discussion? Bless you.
Thank you.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Moving to item A, administrative board reports, Morocco Principal, Marcia. Good evening.
Hello. So it's just some updates of things that are going on around the school, things that we are going to be attending. K1 and 2, we're really looking forward next week. They're going to the Animal Day for FFA. The kids really enjoy that time. I appreciate them being able to go out to the high school and interact with them as well. FFA does a great job of putting that on. Grades 2 and 3, we're gearing up for iRead 3. That's going to be March 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The teachers have worked really hard and they're working well together to get those kids prepared for that testing. 4th grade, they're working on a gemstone project. 5th grade, if you check out our Facebook page, you can see pictures from the Wax Museum. They were set up in the gym. They had to pose until somebody came over and hit their red button, and then they came to life and explained who they were dressed up as. They had a whole speech prepared. So 5th grade did an amazing job with that. And then 5th and 6th are also preparing for BizTown, which is coming up on March 9th. It's a lot of applying for jobs, running through interviews with staff members, getting them ready for whatever job it was that they are going to be doing at BizTown. So that's what's been going on around Morocco. Last board meeting, I gave some NWA data. NWA data is not a comprehensive where we can see other schools. So we are waiting for that iLearn summative so then we can see how we compare to the schools around us. So
That'd be great.
we'll be waiting for that information.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Principal Hines is out sick, Mike. Are you going to give her?
We have Lauren Miller, our Director of Guidance.
Oh, come on up, Lauren.
My name's Lauren Miller. I'm the Director of Guidance at the high school. So last weekend was our winter formal. It was great to see all of the students dressed up there. That was on the 13th and 14th. They had a good time and I think the dance went well overall. Friday, we will be doing a whole school assembly, thanks to Danielle Sands from the Newton County Drug and Task Force, who's sponsoring that assembly. It won't be a typical PowerPoint presentation. There will be live music, interactive questions that the students can respond to, and ways to help students learn coping skills overall. Next Thursday, we'll be hosting our college and career fair. That'll be hosted by the guidance department and the JAG department. We partnered together. And I'm really excited because we have a diverse group of people coming. So we have Fair Oaks Farms, we have Gastonia Tractor, Valparaiso University, the Operators Union, the Indiana Army National Guard, so colleges and careers and all kinds of people. So it's I'm really excited about it. Next week, our FCCLA will be participating in the state competition down in Muncie. And we wish them a best of luck and know that they'll represent our school. So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Dr. Razor, you have your superintendent report.
I do. Today was a very special day for us. We were able to have our first annual State of the District luncheon. We had almost 50 attendees at the State of the District luncheon. Couple of things of note. We want to recognize all of our sponsors, as we had enough sponsorship that the State of the District Luncheon completely was covered by our sponsors. So no tax dollars went toward that. LaFoon and Associates was our marquee sponsor, but also had sponsorship from Pilar Jones Law Firm, from Mozzie Education, from Sharp Office Solutions, as well as, I'm forgetting one, Cardinal Copy. So was a great event. I also want to thank Mrs. Light and the Morocco Student Council, who came and led the Pledge of Allegiance and our moment of silence for us at the State of the District. And really, to summarize for those of you who weren't there, where we've been, where we are, and most importantly, where we're going is what we talked about. And our four major areas, talked about our board committees that we've put together to help us move things forward, and what the major initiatives for the year were. Like I said, again, almost 50 attendees were there, and got really positive feedback afterwards. That I think one of the most impactful things was, even today, we were able to dispel some rumors and some misconceptions that there are about North Newton, and got some really positive feedback about that. So look forward to having more community events, and to next year reporting how we've accomplished all of our goals and what we have set forth for the next year at the State of the District.
You missed one of your sponsors, though.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you remember where your dessert came from?
Oh, thank you. Also, thanks to Miss Heinz and her husband, who donated all of the desserts for the State of the District, and then as well as Monocle's out of Kentland, which was our caterer, and the food was delicious. Thank you, Mr. Haas.
All right. Moving on to board reports. We'll start over here. Tiffany, you have anything?
No.
John?
Fine.
Diane?
Our community PR committee, which is myself and Tyson and Tiffany, we are going to be meeting tomorrow at 1:00 with Dr. Razor to start talking about some potential goals that we want to key in on based on the strategic plan goals that we all set. I'm assuming I'm not speaking incorrectly, right? And then we will have another policy and handbook meeting on February 26th at 1:00. And then I also
24th.
Or sorry, the 24th. Sorry.
Thursday,
Thank you.
26th, that's Bo's birthday.
Okay, sorry. On the 24th, and then we passed the calendar a while back, Dr. Mike, and I forgot to ask you, so I'm sorry, I'm asking you now. Do we need to submit the waiver for the professional development days to the state? Do we need to get that on like one of the next agendas so that
is
we
a
can
good
get those
question.
waivers?
I don't think we have to. I think it's a rolling 3 years.
I think we do have a rolling 3 years. I want to check that because
Okay.
I believe so. That was what I
I
was
just
going
wanna
to
make
check.
Was that
sure.
the one we did last year?
We
Yeah.
did the waiver, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're
We did
covered.
it. We caught it
yeah,
at the
Yeah.
end of
yeah,
the beginning of his term.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
So-
We voted on it earlier, but
So if you want to check
Yeah.
on that, so then we just know that
Definitely
we're covered.
will,
We're good to go. Okay, thanks.
because that affects the calendar, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else. No.
Listen,
Oh, I don't have anything.
Sam?
I actually do, and it's a combination of needing input from our academic committee, our finance committee, and then IT committee. So last week, our finance committee met, and they were going through a bunch of different reports, different information, and we finally got a list of all of the vendors that we had used last year, just to kind of condense, instead of like from the end or beginning of time to now, it was just last year. So over the weekend, I printed off the reports, started going through it, and I realized, okay, it's nice to have these vendor names, but I seriously have no idea what we get from some of these vendors. So I started Googling it, and I'd actually like to figure out, like, I know Savas Learning Company is what we use for science of reading. We use Brain Pop for science. It's all the different programs that we are using on our iPads, but who's using them? Are we using them efficiently across K through 12, K through 6, which courses, and then of course the subscriptions that come with it, who's actually using it versus not using it, what we've actually paid for. So how do we go about
So
It's-
digging into that nitty gritty? Yeah, go.
Go
for it.
first then.
Okay, that is the very tedious work that we are getting into.
Okay.
Some of them will be, yep, this is that's that, and it's good. The way I described it, well, I've described it to some of you this way, and the way I described it today at the State of the District when I talked about this very thing, is we're at the tedious part of making sure we don't have two Netflix accounts,
Right.
and
Right.
that we don't have two streaming services that provide the same exact shows,
Right.
and that we aren't paying for a streaming service that we
Completely
never
don't
watch.
use anymore. Right.
So, yeah, that is being to your point. It's going to be divvied up out to principals,
Okay.
office staff, maintenance staff, IT, and
Okay.
determining exactly what these things are,
Okay.
and not to put too much on the staff, but justifying. And again, some of these justifications will be easy. It's our dyslexia screener. We have to have it. Check.
Right.
Or one classroom in one school uses this 1 week a year.
Yeah.
Maybe not,
A wise choice of
Yeah.
our funds to be spending
So,
that on.
Go on top of that. When I generated all those reports from the data that Patty gave me and Missy and sent those out, one, I do apologize because I can see you had to write on top of the subject line. When I put those reports, I put them together by vendor and by fund. So operations and then education. And then I did one that was combined of education and operations, the top 30 vendors. So first of all, I apologize for that. Second of all, what you're asking right now is exactly why I put those out for me personally, because as I called Tyson, I said, you understand, Tyson, a lot of these categories, and I have no idea. Diane understands some of these categories in here, and you have no idea. So when we at the finance committee meeting, we were sitting here talking about getting these out to the board, getting these out to our principals, getting these out to our employees. A lot of people they always say that you can't run a school like a business, but in reality it is. And you have to figure out how to run a $20 million business. So you need to figure out what you're spending your money on. And by finally getting a report that shows every vendor and you asking these kind of questions is exactly how we're going to figure out what it is. And the next step of that is, in my 15, 16 years of government employees and elected officials, they don't think about the dollars that are spent because it's not coming out of their pocket. It's not affecting their bonuses. It's not affecting them personally. So when you see $700,000 NIPSCO bill or whatever it is on our total operation expenditures for 4 buildings, yeah, it's just NIPSCO. But if you look at it in reality, then what are we spending per building? What are we spending per office? What are we spending in your house? You have to break those budgets down to survive and pay your bills. It's the same thing as us as the school board members to do the due diligence to figure out where we are spending our money and how to make sure we can save money, because that's how we pay our teachers. That's how we pay our staff. That's how we do everything. We get a finite amount of money from the taxpayer money, period. We don't get any more. There is no way to go out and make money. We get it through taxpayer dollars. So I'm very excited, Sam, that you asked those questions. And I encourage all of you, board members and our finance committee and everybody, take those and start figuring out what's in there. Because there's a lot of stuff I'm assuming that we've just had been paying for years and no one ever asked any questions. We're excited.
Yeah. And if I can add one more thing, the other thing that we're diving into too is, are we paying for it in the smartest way?
Right. Because if you do it as a corporation, you can get a bigger discount because you're using more.
Are we buying it?
Right.
Leveraging an economy of scale, but then also, are we spending money on it that can be spent myriad ways when there's a fund that can only be spent that way,
Mhm.
and making sure that we're doing that as well, because we do have bucket accounting in Indiana.
So yes, I'm very happy that you asked that, because that's exactly the questions that need to be asked by all of us. And then we can figure it out and look into it and hopefully come up with better solutions.
Well, then, do you mind sending a list of just the vendors, and then we could kind of like, I don't know,
Because
could
that's
it
the
be like
print
a
up of the
working
vendors.
document so that somebody can make a side note as far as, hey, this is what we use this for?
Honestly, I don't think we know.
Well, what we'll have to do, I think the first step on that is
Or if we,
periodically we have a complete leadership meeting, which is hard to get everybody together in one room at the same time, but all the principals, all the directors, and we can go through these and get it working. And then we'll be like, we're like, okay, we need to dive deeper into this one.
okay,
But Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Sam?
Nope, just to follow up from Mrs. Gonzi's, we had policy meeting and we tapped into handbook, which is exciting. I'm a dork, sorry.
Yes.
Very exciting. Yay. But yep, and then next meeting is next Tuesday.
Tyson?
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little more fun route. Last night, our varsity boys basketball team defeated South Newton 55-47 to bring home the county trophy back home where it belongs.
Very nice.
Boys played a heck of a game. They played hard, and it was fun to sit there on the sidelines and help coach. Last week, I got an email from Mr. Zachary. We had a exemplary behavior file reported. It's from Dan Stallman. He was a referee for 42 years doing basketball, football, and baseball. It says Sam Zachary, AD, head boys varsity basketball coach, informed his players that this was my last game, that I was retiring from officiating. As I walked off the court, every player came up to me, shook my hand, and thanked me for my time and wished me well. What a wonderful memory for sure. Looking back on this, I'm not surprised. Over the years, his teams have showed great sportsmanship. Sam does an outstanding job making sure contest officials are always appreciated. Thank you, Sam. It was always a pleasure to work at North Newton. And he lists the participating individuals as the entire basketball team. So that puts our score for the sportsmanship on the IHSA website as a 105, which is exceptional. It's a
Yay.
very high score. So that reflects upon the entire school and the entire athletic program. So I wanted to share that. Thought that was awesome. And our last meeting, we found out that our freshman Jake Higgins qualified for regionals. Well, he won his first match and was able to wrestle at semi-state. He did not win, but as a freshman, I'm excited to see what the future holds for him. So I thought that was awesome for him and Jason and Danielle. So keep up the good work, Mr. Higgins, and hopefully we'll get a state title out of you someday. So that's all I had.
Well done. For me on board reports, we did have our initial finance committee meeting last week. It was very informative. We had Patty, our consultant, two of our consultants, Mozzie and Dalton was on call. Plus we had Courtney here.
Yeah.
Myself, Melissa, and Diane could make it, but
Family birthday, sorry.
yeah, no, that's why we have three of us. So we went through, that was part of this stuff, putting the reports out that I submitted to everybody, and just getting ready to start going into budgets and everything else that we're working on, trying to get ahead of the game. I think that was one of the biggest things that I received tonight from all of the people that showed up at our luncheon, that they were in the sidebar conversations, they were the most excited about how we were putting together committees and how they worked. They thought that was brilliant, and they love the idea of elected officials actually getting involved and understanding what's going on inside of their schools that they're doing. So I'm very proud of that for us as a team. We have other things coming down the board. I won't discuss longevity because that's already on our agenda, but that's something we discussed in another committee. So I think that's it for meetings. And then have anything else for board reports? All right, moving on to recognition, our favorite part, student spotlight.
Hello. Okay. So our student spotlight for tonight is going to be Paige Mahan. So I'm excited to recognize Paige as the student of the month. She is a wonderful student who always follows directions and puts forth her best effort. I can always count on Paige to listen carefully, stay focused, and set a positive example for others. Her kind attitude and responsibility makes her a joy to have in the classroom. Keep up the good work, Paige. And that was from Ms. Bassett.
Mama.
All right, so I am here with Quincy, who is a first grader, and she was nominated by Miss Hamill. And Miss Hamill has quite a bit of things to say about you. All right, so Quincy is 7, and she's a little girl who's in 1st grade, and she has many admirable qualities as a student in my classroom. Leadership, respectful, and self-discipline stand out the most for me. Her leadership reflects her academic skills. She excels in both math and language arts. She's a great role model for her peers. Her respect is apparent with her peers and adults as well. She is also an active listener and very patient. Her self-discipline as a young child is very noteworthy. I know this as a major factor from home and continues in school. She is a very sweet little girl and will continue to be a success from this day forward. Mrs. Hamill.
Do we have any staff spotlights?
We do.
Good.
This one is long overdue. Our staff spotlight this evening is Miss Patty Wright.
She's trying to hide back there.
And she was also a double nominee from both Valerie Cahill and Jennifer Holder, 2 of our school treasurers.
Yes.
Patty has been great to work with. She has been putting in so many hours to assist with getting everything back in order. She's always willing to answer my questions when needed. I am thankful that we have found staff in the Treasurer's Department that want to be here. She is one of the first to arrive in the morning and one of the last to leave at the end of the day. When she has something for me, she comes down to my desk to give it to me and see me. Congratulations, Patty.
All righty. So this is the part for the parents. If you like to leave, you guys can leave. If not, stay and enjoy the rest of our board. Maybe it's open to the public, but we know kids got to go to school tomorrow. So thank you
very
for coming.
much.
And you are the guidance counselor. You don't have to stay either if you want to go. She's like, everybody else gets to leave.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a long day.
Thank you.
I thought you were one of the students. That's why I was like, where's Ken? How old I'm getting. I'm like, oh. But she was on the student spotlight.
She's doing a fantastic job.
Two of our new hires.
Yeah, she's director of guidance.
Nice.
Yep.
Very nice. She's better to work with. It's tough getting for us. Speaking of the public, she
Yeah.
did it pretty good. All right.
Oh, thank you.
For non-action items, we have the unified handbook. I guess you guys just started to jump into that.
Yes.
Anything?
Yes.
Update us on that, Dr. Mike. Come on.
Yes, we have dove in and we have begun to go through. No, we are working in the handbook now.
Yeah, we're in the handbook. We're in the
Well,
handbook,
hold on.
guys.
The girls have been working on the
About,
handbook
about
for
10
years.
pages in, right? We're
Yeah.
about 10 pages
Listen,
in.
have
right?
you ever seen their work on the handbook? It's
Have-
like this thick.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going through, and in the effort to make a unified handbook, what we're doing is we're using actually another district's handbook as a model that has been new and updated,
Mm-hmm.
and then going through because
It coordinates with our policies.
yeah, we're going to reference each of our policies in everything that is necessary for that. So if we have a procedure or the way something goes, we're going to reference the policy for that. But we're also going to make sure that there's the whole purpose of a unified handbook is that if an employee goes looking for something, it's the same across the board because, you know,
If you look at our policies, you'll see
Yeah.
that there's administrators, there's certified staff, there's non-certs, there's sports, and it's literally the same exact policy, but they just plug in the different
words.
words. So
But-
it's the
yeah.
same thing. So that'll all be referenced, but it's going to be one easy spot for everybody to go and say, oh, this is what
Yeah.
I have to
And
do.
easy to update then as well.
Yep.
Now,
And job descriptions.
I was about to say,
Job descriptions
Working
at
on
the end,
those as well.
calendars at the end for employees, the benefits they're eligible for. Yeah.
Now,
that-
are we gonna have a working draft of the updates for our next meeting, like the first few pages when we meet next week for policy?
yeah, I would just leave it in the agenda always for us to see
I
it.
mean, for our meeting, are we gonna have something to look at?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree
Okay.
with what you're saying, Diane. If you have even the rough draft, making it accessible for the rest of the board members, because I don't want to
be blindsided and.
I don't, right, I don't want to get a 700-page document from you all and say, I got a week to look at it.
699.
Whatever.
No, that's our
And a
job.
half.
Well,
No, I'm just kidding.
and part of it is that it doesn't need to be that long. It'll be
Right, well,
sectioned off. Yes.
hold on, that's what I wanted to get back to, because originally when you first got here, and these two specifically, because they're the policy goddesses, there was a difference.
I think I need a sweatshirt that says that.
There was a difference in, we wanted to have very much detailed job descriptions and everything else, and I agree with that. You came back with us originally, says it needs to be 5 pages, and we're just referencing some other stuff. Have we met in the middle?
We're
now?
meeting in the middle
Yeah,
on
we're
that.
meeting in the
Yeah.
Meeting in the middle.
Yeah.
Because I agree, I want as much for me, and I think everybody else on this board, they can speak for themselves, but it needs to be as clear for the employees
Yes.
without confusion. If not, it's just a waste of time. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there
that's-
needs to be, it's not, I don't want to say parameters, but the parameters need to be set, like this is what's allowed, this isn't what allowed. That way we're protected as a corporation and our employees are protected.
Correct.
So that everybody's clear, concise, they know what's expected, no gray area. Black
we're still keeping it separate from our student handbooks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Oh, yeah,
separate
that
from
would
the
all
student
be-
handbook, but I see it as being a tabbed document. So there's going to be things that apply to everybody.
Mhm.
And then if there's only things for certain, for administrators, and then at the end are job descriptions. But, again, something that's going to be crystal clear for everyone to be able to use.
Yep.
And know.
Moving forward, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Perfect. Yeah, so if you could keep that running in the system for us to see, that'd be great. All right, so moving on down, we're into our first readings. We have policy 0165, policy 5540, policy 5540.01, policy 5540.02, policy 7300, policy 8400, and that's for the policies. We'll just go with those for now. I have discussion on this, but if you guys want to wait to your procedural part to vote, that's fine.
Well, what's your
This is
discussion?
all non-action.
Non-action.
Yes, that's right. We're not voting on this. 0165. So how did we come up? That's the one that I sent you guys, and then you all said let's put it back into policy committee,
Those
which I think was a good
virtual
idea.
meetings.
Yep, virtual meetings. So can you guys explain or go through your process or thinking on that and why you modified from what the state has?
No, we had modified from what some Julie had drafted in there.
Oh, from her draft before?
Mhm.
Yeah, because the actual one that we're running, current active one, doesn't have any of this. The draft one, which wasn't passed, yes, I agree. But
Yeah.
yes, and what Julie did was, correct. But so from you guys, I have lots of questions, but I want to hear your input first because it's different than what the state has.
Well, when we were going through policy, we found that there's policy 0165. There's also policy 0164, which has never been adopted before. And then there was another one that was another update of 0165. And if I remember correctly, there were two that actually contradicted themselves. There was one that we had yet to put into effect and adopt, and it had on there that if you were to attend virtually, that actually wasn't allowed. So we're like, well, if we adopt that policy, it's contradicting what's being said in the newest update of 0165. So when we went through and we did 0165, there's some language changes in here as far as updating like Indiana code to match what the numbers needed to be. And then there's who can call emergency meetings, and that's left up to both the president and or the superintendent.
Percentages of meetings that
Yeah,
you can miss.
Reasons for emergency meetings, and then it gets down to the limitations as far as if a board member were to attend a meeting virtually, what percentage of the board has to be physically present, how many can a board member attend throughout the year. I believe it's non-negotiable as far as like you can attend 2 virtually consecutively, but then the third one you'd have to be in person. Then there's also limitations as far as how far in advance you would have to tell the superintendent and board president, hey, I'm gonna be attending virtually today. It was originally, I think, 5 days in advance, and we cut it down to 2 hours because we're like, as long as we have the ability to do it.
So you're taking it off of what Neola had on that, or whatever Julie had.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we changed it. She had 3 days and we changed it 2 hours in our discussion with Dr. Mike.
Question was asking us, how long would it take us to set up?
Correct. But I'm just,
Yeah.
correct. And now I understand where you all came from it and how you got to where it was. Because Julie had started something. Once you're finished, then I'll go through my questions.
I mean, I think that was a lot of our discussions.
So then it makes sense that you took Julie's document, which Neola is just a recommendation, is not required. It's not state statute that you use Neola's language verbatim, just so everybody understands that. 2, the state statute is set for some of these changes are more strict than the state statute, meaning what the state has passed, whatever that was, 2025, whenever they passed that, 2024, they set parameters for all elected governments, county, municipals, towns, school boards, whatever, here's the standards of what you guys are going to do of remote meetings. So for me personally, as a board member, and this affects other board members, it doesn't affect our employees, it doesn't affect the constituents, this affects other elected officials. I don't want to change anything more stringent than what the state says, because I don't feel that I should be dictating, or I don't understand there's so many variables that I could all give you of how scenario, if you limit instead of 50% of meetings, which is what the state statute says, you put it down to 25 per special, regular, There's so many variables in there that could affect that. And then the other question is, who becomes the moderator? Does the president, so who gets to dictate board member X says that I'm sick today? Well, according to what I research, that's board member X's personal decision, meaning are we going to start requiring board member X? Tyson, you need to send us in a doctor's note every time you want to remote in. No, I mean, that's where you really get into the weeds of dictating to other board members who are elected just like us. That's why it's more simple, and why in my research, almost 70% of the schools in the state of Indiana went with what the state minimum is, period. They did not modify, make it more strict, or any other stuff. Plus, when Neola did the changes, or if you guys took, I don't know if it was Neola or if you took, now you said it, you took Julie's, the state statute is 50% of meetings. Executive
know that.
sessions don't count.
We had that paperwork. We knew
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you broke it down to where now it's 50% of
We said 20.
special
We
meetings.
said 25.
No, we said.
But I'm saying, if you do the math, there's no case law for this to be sued on it, but when the state says you get to do only 50% of the meetings, right? You've made it so it's 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. You've made it so that they could potentially be more than the state says 50% of meetings. It doesn't say 50% of special meetings. It doesn't say 50% of regular meetings. It doesn't say 50% of, it doesn't. So for me, putting it just whatever the state minimums are is what I would like to see this as. And no, I don't want to be the one dictating to other board members any of their other stuff that you can't do this or you can't do that.
How did you guys come up with the 25% though? We were talking because we have 24 just regular meetings a year. So,
50%, you can miss 12 meetings.
right.
And then you have to have at least 4 people in the room to have a quorum. And there's only
even have
there's
the virtual.
restrictions as to how you can miss. You can't miss if you're going to adopt a budget, make a reduction in personnel, initiate a referendum, establish or increase a fee, establish or increase a penalty, use the board's power of eminent domain authority, or establish, raise, or renew a tax. So we just thought that the 50% was in our discussion that it's excessive to miss that many meetings.
But why do you or any of the other board members are going to set the parameters of other elected officials if the state's already set 50%? Why do we? I don't want to be in a position where I'm saying, damn it, Tyson, you have to come back on vacation because we only have you to be here and you've already had 2 virtual meetings. You need to get here or we can't pass this emergency thing, which we got to do many things, our crazy stuff.
You
I
can't even
don't
do that. You
want-
have to have a quorum.
Yeah.
Present
In the room.
physically.
I understand. Well, yes. But what I'm saying is there are a lot, you're trying to say that you want to push your opinion on other board members. I'm saying I don't. I want to
What we're
say,
saying is we're making a recommendation from our meeting that we didn't feel that we thought that 50% was excessive and people can vote against that. That's just our recommendation, wanting people to be here because if you run into the situation where there's not 4 people in here, you're going to be rescheduling meetings if people are excessively missing all the time. That's why we're making that recommendation. I don't feel like I'm trying to push my opinion on anybody. It's what we brought to you guys. You guys can vote against it. You can change it. That's fine. But that's
So how are
that's
we
why
going
we're
to-
thinking.
how are we going to address the special circumstances?
They're listed out in the policy.
Right, but how do you, somebody has to administer that. So are you going to say the board president, the superintendent? So if there are special circumstances the state laid out, which you guys have not modified.
Military service, illness, or
Illness. So let's just use
condition.
illness. So if I say I'm ill and I'm not coming into a meeting, that allows me to remote in.
Yeah.
So if you guys have anybody else, who's going to determine whether that is it just my word? Nobody else can say anything. So I can say it anytime I want, correct? Or you want to put more stipulations on that?
No,
That's
we're
my question.
saying 25% is the number we're putting there. If you're sick, but you can't miss more than 2 meetings in a row anyway, virtually. The third one you have to be in person. I'm
Right.
not going to ask you for a doctor's excuse.
You shouldn't.
That's not our intention, is it, Dr. Mike, when we were going
We
through
never
this?
even discussed that. So
He's
I'm
not
kind of-
part of this process. This is for us. Elected officials.
Well, I also think that as an elected official, unless something drastically comes up, your butt needs to be in this chair.
And I disagree with that because everybody runs meetings across this country for everything.
Okay, but then so you're saying that if you could sit at home and do your virtual meetings 100% of the time, you don't think the constituents would be kind of ticked off that you're sitting at home in the comfort of your own home and not coming here?
So what are you saying they're sitting at home? What happens if the farmer that's out in this field doing his crops, but he decided to step up and be an elected official and he's out there for the entire fall? Can't miss it because he's there from sun up to sundown. He's in the field, but he can do a virtual meeting because he can sit there and pay the money from his phone to get online and do the virtual meeting to do that stuff, which is what our county commissioners are doing right now. Or if you have other elected officials across this country that sit there because they don't want to fly back and forth for their decided to step up and be an elected official, they're going on vacation somewhere and they have to come back for something, or they have a family emergency somewhere, or any other dire straight thing. That's why it said it's better for us to go with what the state minimum is and don't sit there and think like we can just dictate to other elected officials.
But that's what we get to do as the policy committee and as the school board. We get to put what we would like in our policies as long as it fits within the parameters that we see fit.
Correct. And that's why we're having a discussion because you guys are just 3 and the rest of us can vote.
Okay, well, we're not
Exactly.
voting tonight, but we are having an open discussion.
Correct.
And if there's a family emergency, I'm going to tell you, I, for one, sorry, at that point in time, I'm not coming and I'm not going to remote in because if I'm sitting in the emergency room with my child, that's going to take precedence.
Correct. Or if you got
So-
somebody that's injured, sitting at home because they've injured themselves and they can't make it there, they can't drive, but we need that person for whatever purpose. They're the 5th person. The vote's going to be split possibly 3-2.
But you wouldn't know the vote ahead of time
Yeah,
because
you
we
do.
can't straw poll. And
You-
so you have to have 4 people as a quorum in the room.
Yes.
So if we do this, this would help with people possibly not using the system of, oh, well, I can just miss half the meetings and not have to worry about it. I mean, it's holding you accountable as an elected official. I mean, elected official, you should try to make every meeting that you possibly can. I know there's some I can't. We're out in the field,
Right.
you know, in the ag world with Keystone. Love my job, love my farmers, and there's times I cannot make it, but I do also try to do the best I can to get here on time. And I feel like if we go that route, Mr. Mark, I'm afraid that in the future, not saying here, you might have someone that might abuse that a little bit. And while the rest of us are busting our humps trying to get here and get out in the public and doing what we're supposed to be doing, they're going to sit at home and eat bonbons and not put the work in. I mean, I understand your argument, but
No, and I agree 100% if they're sitting home eating bonbons. Out of all the board members here, I come to most meetings. So I'm never going to miss a meeting. I'm always going to be at a meeting. But I'm arguing in defense of other board members, whether you're here or in the future. I don't want to sit there and change what the state statute has given, which is what 70% of the other school boards in the state of Indiana said, hey, at 50% minimum, you are correct. You can only have two consecutive. You have to come back for the third. You have special things. If you sit there and nickel and dime stuff down to what is even more stringent, you're forcing situations that could possibly come up that is not sitting at home. And if you use that analogy for everything, yes, it's bad. But there are emergency situations that happen to people. And if you can't figure out those emergencies and allow those people the grace to come in, I don't want people to abuse it. That's not what I'm getting at. I just don't feel that we should be sitting there dictating to other elected officials when the state has already said it.
But in those emergency situations, there's things that could be done, especially at the North Newton School Corporation board of 7 people. We don't have to worry about a corporation and having to follow that policy. And I'm sure that we can all come together and create a resolution that, you know, hey, my kid's receiving treatments at Riley. So, you know, whatever. I still want to be a part of the board. I'm sure that we could come together in a certain circumstance in that situation to make it work for that board member and what's best for their family without having to sacrifice and say you need to leave because even though you were elected, but you're not here anymore. I mean, I'm going to side with the family every single time because as far as I'm concerned, your family, well,
And then you're choosing not to be able to be there in person, which is how it used to be before there was virtual, and you still need 4 people to be here at the meeting physically to have a forum regardless.
Didn't this
Yeah, just in case
policy,
technology fails, you
wasn't
have.
this for COVID anyway? Is that what we
What
used it for?
started it?
When it
Yes.
first started.
Okay, well, until the next COVID rolls around, I'm not going to be overly concerned about it. I mean, I just think you're reading a little bit too much into it. We don't have to do what the state. I don't want to do what the state tells us to do all the time. I don't think the state does the right thing all the time anyway. I feel like we need to do what's best for this school.
And we meet twice a month now
Yeah.
instead of once a month.
Mhm.
And we're doing more time here.
But you also have the
That plays-
circumstances that if you have multiple meetings that we have to have special meetings, we threw 3 or 4 of them in a row because of crazy stuff that happens, which happen in reality, just practical stuff. Then you're meeting that threshold quicker and that person can't
Well,
make it to the meeting.
that was special circumstances too. I mean, we had a superintendent that had left and our financial department had left. So there was a lot of things that had to be done in emergency situations, but I feel like we've got a pretty good crew out here in the crowd and sitting next to me that I don't think we have to worry about that near as much. And at this point, I mean, I feel like we've got our head above water pretty good at this point.
Well, the biggest thing I want to protect is the board members that are not here or here in the context of people like to say policy's not personal, it's just policy. So I want to make sure that the policy's clear so that nobody can get trampled on and say, hey, because you're the odd duck out and 6 of the board members don't like you, you get treated differently and it's policy. So I want to clarify what we need and can't do. Who gets to decide whether your illness is legitimate or not? Is that you or is that the board? I think it's the individual. That's what the majority of the people say. The constituents are the ones that elect you, the constituents that are going to unelect you. I don't want to be the one playing the overseer of another elected official. I don't want somebody else sitting there saying, your excused absence is not excused because you didn't submit a doctor's note or whatever. That's ridiculous.
I don't think that's anywhere in this
No,
policy.
we
though.
don't
I mean,
have
I
to
think if
submit a
I call
doctor's
up and
note.
all of a sudden something happens at the last minute and I got to be at the emergency room, I can't be there. I'm just going to be like, Samantha, I can't be there.
And
If
I'll
there's
call-
something that comes up within 2 hours where I can be like, I have to be virtual because something and I can do that, then we're gonna do it, because we still need 4 people in the room physically regardless.
I had one last year. We were side dressing ammonia and I could not get away from the riser and I was delivering ammonia and I told, I don't know, 2 or 3 of you and
I've been in the
nobody said
tractor
anything
before and
to
haven't
me.
been able to get to a
Yeah.
meeting. I had to call and say, I'm in the tractor. I can't make it to the meeting.
I understand that. If you don't want to be part of the meeting, yes, Diane, but there are other people that would want to be part of the meeting, but they're in a circumstance that they can't, and they want to vote on something that's happening. That stuff happens. That's the whole purpose of the state putting this out there so that you can participate. If not, then don't have it at all. Don't even do the remote. If you don't show up, then go back to the way it is. That's what you guys are saying. I would rather have that than some modified process of remote access.
I just don't see the need for the remote portion of it at this point until the new COVID variant comes out or whatever the next thing that comes out. I mean, I don't think it was never a problem before then. I mean, I don't know.
Okay. You have anything on this?
Okay, what's the next one?
I've already read off all the policies. I don't
Oh,
have
is the
anything
rest
else on
of
the
them?
rest of them.
Okay, so that was the one that you were talking about?
0165, correct.
Okay.
So if somebody would like to make a motion on the first read of those policies that I read off.
I don't think we need a motion, do we?
It's
Oh,
not
I'm
an
sorry.
action.
No, actually, sorry. The next thing is the Roseline electric LED lights, Mike.
Yes, this is phase 2 of the LED conversion at the high school. We're doing them section by section because it is during the school year. So these are areas that are easy to get to while school is going on. You can see library, IT room, maintenance, ag department, really and a lot of the storage and the wings and bays at the back of the high school. We'll continue moving on section by section, but this allows them to get in and get it done fast and us move on. So we'll bring that for approval at the next meeting.
Was that part of what our first?
I was going to ask if this was going to be capital projects or
Part of our original capital project, wasn't it? The 18,000 was the first, and then we had a second proposal we were talking about for the second phase.
Yeah, this is phase 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this has been from a few years ago, correct? That we were planning on doing this?
Oh yeah, for years ago, but
Right.
we just started it.
But that, the
I think-
LED lights, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was when
Been on the
first year that
for
Melissa
years.
and I came on. I
Yes,
think was when
and
we
it's at the
talked
high
about
school.
it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, and I thought, because I had thought it was done a long time ago, and then you brought it to our attention
Okay.
that it had not
Yeah,
gotten.
like the office got done at the high school and a couple
And now
of
the gym
bathrooms.
is like, "Ooh,
But yeah, but if you go to the gym, so that's yeah.
I'm being
Everybody tells
interrogated.
me it's
Wow.
So this was
Oh,
something
it's so
from 3
bright in
years
there.
ago that we're finally getting done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Next on the agenda is personnel ECA elementary
Choral director.
choral director.
Choir.
Yeah, not choir.
Choral.
I'm like, what's choral?
Yeah.
Choir?
Yes, and that is
Choir director.
that is Mr. Sekviar right
I
there.
Oh,
apologize.
there. Now we know.
They tell you just to read what's on this paper, and I'm like, that doesn't look right.
Choral. That's what's on.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
And
the-
he is
that's the
doing
oh, that's funny. Gavin, how you say your last name?
Yeah.
That's a mouthful.
and this
Welcome
is something
aboard.
he is already doing, but we realized that we had not brought it forth for approval. And he is our music teacher for the elementary schools and also does their programs in the evening in the
It's
choir
just the
along
stipend
with
that we
that.
pay
So,
for.
and this is paid out when the year is complete, but we wanted to get it on the books.
Employee longevity, I'll start with that, Mike, and then you can finish.
All
We've
right.
now moved into, worked out the employees longevity. We've submitted it to the finance committee for review. I have submitted it to the rest of the board for review. This is something that Mike, myself, and the finance committee have been working on. We've got it narrowed down to estimated dollar amounts, estimated total costs. We're proposing that once the finance committee, we work this out by next March or the end of the month, like Tiffany was asking, we want to get this voted on one way or the other so that it's taken care of. We've been telling our employees for a while now till we get things figured out. Again, we don't have our finances completely wrapped up and figured out, but we know it's very important. We're just going to do what we got to do. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important to us to get this done. We wanted to do it fairly, wanted to do it also across the board and make sure that all employees who'd been with us and had longevity were being recognized and that we took time to do our diligence on it. So yeah, by end of next month, we hope to bring that forward for a vote.
Do you have an idea? So is it,
Is this the email that we got this afternoon?
Mm-hmm.
It has all
Yeah, the
stuff
finance
in it.
committee got it earlier
Yeah.
and you guys
We
got
got
it
it like
today.
almost
I-
3 o'clock.
I'm not on the finance committee, so.
Neither am I. We got it later. We got
Yeah, you'd have got
So it'll be on the agenda for next month or next
to vote
first
on it,
read.
but
No, not to vote on it, first read.
Yeah.
And then it'll be on the next meeting, the last meeting of March to vote on. So
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know if you guys could just get a little bit more in the weeds and just say what it looks like. Is it a raise? Is it a stipend? Is it a combination of both?
So in we look at a lot of things. So correct me if I'm missing. There's going to be a base salary for every position.
Okay.
Then for the first 5 years, that base salary will have an escalator on it. So years 0 through 5, your salary will escalate to where you top out at the top pay for that position after 5 years. However, at 5 years, you hit a longevity stipend each year. So for 5 years in, you're at this, and then
10 years you're in
and then
this.
10 years you're at this. That's on top of that salary that incentivizes folks to stay along and rewards them, and then that caps out
35 years.
at 35 years. So someone would continue through their entire career.
My plan, Tyson, is I didn't want to go into too much detail, but I will.
I don't want too much detail.
I want to make sure the public has the ability to read it because I'm
Yeah.
going to present all of that stuff from
Yeah,
what we
absolutely.
do. But yes, it has, like we were talking, the 1% is, these are all recommended numbers, but we have to figure out the finance side. But it allows people to get paid. One of the things that we were talking about, and I'll just go into, and people will be concerned about this because Mike made the statement about base pay for everybody. So we bumped, let's say, custodians up to 16. I'm just putting a number out, but I think that's what it was.
18, but yeah.
Whatever the base pay was.
Yeah.
So let's say it's 16. You could have had 3 or 4 custodians that were not our managers, but regular custodians, not part-time, but full-time. They were making 18 or 18.25. Well, you don't want to drop them down to 16 because you bumped everybody else up to 16. So they get grandfathered in. So as your base pay creeps up over the year, stuff when you do your raises, they stay the same. So they're not getting punished, but you're increasing the other people to where they're finally at 5 years, they're all the same pay. But that person who's been here for 10 or 15 or 20 years or 30 years that has that bigger pay gets this longevity, which is paid on, once a year as a stipend type thing for their service and being an employee and all that stuff. So one, we're affecting the individual pay because you want to give them something for the 0 to 5 years. It's a incentivizer, and it gives you a year employee 0 to a year employee 5 has a 5% increase on that pay. So it makes it worth it because at the county level, we did it where longevity was it by itself. We learned later and we lost a lot of employees because we didn't think about the new people and they were just stuck in for 5 years getting no increases or no longevity. So we fixed that and adjusted it, and I think it's something that'll work out great. So I will, with the committee, present everything. I'm hoping to be able to put it all out there like we did for our collective bargaining. Perfect. So that way everyone can see it for next meeting, and then we can discuss it, talk about it, and then vote on it.
And a couple things we could point out is definitely didn't want to get into numbers tonight because we want to make sure that what we're doing is sustainable.
We can't.
If we were to, again, making up numbers, let's say we don't have to worry about negotiations next year because we're already done with our teachers for that. But let's say the year after that, we decide we're going to give our teachers a 2% raise and say, okay, we've looked at our finances. We can afford a 2% raise across the board. That base number changes. So, and then that graduated number still happens on that escalator year 1 through 5. So
does the amount of the longevity change with the percentage of the increase, or is it a set amount?
that would be a set amount.
Okay,
That
so,
then,
so
in the
to me,
future,
it's like a stipend. Can I just call it a stipend in a sense?
That's
where
what I
it's-
call it, yeah.
Okay.
Bonus
Way I
stipend, whatever
understand
you
it.
call it.
That's what for everybody that was watching online and hearing, I just wanted them to have an idea of what to look for.
Yeah, I mean,
what my
it's
point was.
the rough estimate numbers are going to be in ballpark that I think we can afford, but it's gonna be a gamble, and I think it's worth if we can figure out how to do it because it benefits our employees. I like the idea of grandfathering in the people that are being paid higher and not punishing them. I like the idea of ensuring that there's growth in the first 5 years of employees, so they're not stagnant. It's just a set. No matter what we do during budget process, we could give a 3%. What do you call that? Cost of living increase. Then that just goes on the base rate of every position, and you've got to break them up in categories. Custodials, this. The hardest one, and I hate to say this, and we'll have to look at it. Please look at those sheets that I sent you. Is secretarial, because the other big picture thing that's very confusing, and I was talking to Mike about it, is we need to fix somehow in our data entry is contract days, because the only people that are truly contracted are the superintendent and maybe the principals, but everybody else is an hourly employee. So we have like some of them. What Patty had sent me it was crazy. One secretary was 181 days. One secretary was 205. One secretary was 200. One secretary was 260. So then on that sheet that I sent you all, that affects their actually hourly rate because they get paid hourly. So in a work week during work, if in a week they go more than 40 hours, they get paid overtime, and you have to figure out that hourly rate. So if you take employee X, that's a secretary, which was so confusing to me, that makes $30,000, right? But they're only contracted for 181 days. You take 30,000 divided by 181 days divided by 8, and that's their hourly rate. That person's making more than somebody that's making 50,000 at 260 days because they're working far less hours. So if they work overtime,
though, like were the elementary secretaries versus high school secretaries?
Yeah, we can go into that.
There's a little rant around that too. Even some of the stuff we inherited wasn't even correct. Like, we had a secretary that our documentation said she was a 200-day secretary when in fact she was 205.
Correct.
And that messed with the rate that we estimated when she got a raise.
Data in is only good as the data goes.
Yeah, but I do think to that point, what we need to do is everybody that is hourly, we need to think of as hourly.
Correct.
So days are important, but base everything that we look forward from not off a overall salary, but what is their hourly rate, and then escalate from that.
Right. So big jump step forward. I'm very excited about it. We're going to have our next meeting hopefully soon, but then
The end of March.
a little before then, but we'll probably just do one virtually just to get it done because we wanted to wait till the end of March, but we can't in March.
That for the finance?
Yeah.
Just let me know ahead of time so
I
I
will.
can try to get on my calendar.
All right. Anything else for that, Mike, on the longevity? Anybody else have any questions on longevity? All right. We have our minute. We're down into the consent agenda. I have nobody that's signed up. Items A is executive board meetings minutes from February 4th, 2026, regular board meeting minutes from February 4th, 2026, and the financial claims and reports. Anybody see anything wrong with the minutes?
I got a question on the claims.
Yes, sir.
Plymouth Community School for a IH sped transfer tuition.
Yeah, that should be a student.
One of our students transferred there, or
is there? Yeah, that's.
what's sped?
I could look into that more. It's a special ed transfer.
Yeah.
Is that part of those KD?
But this is
No.
Plymouth is
is
way
not in our
over.
co-op.
Yeah.
That's why I'm wondering what it's.
How do we do those, Mike? Can
Is that
somebody just
Timeout.
send a kid and then you have to approve, or the principal? And how do we get
What is-
billed? Who gets to set the rates? I mean, how do we, I mean, are we getting ripped off? I mean,
No.
how does that all
No,
work?
That's a whole.
I mean, I don't know.
there's a formula and it's set, but my recommendation would be approving it because we've signed off on these things and make sure, but then I will get you the information on that.
I'm just curious because
Yeah.
I know we train like TC Harris.
Yeah.
That's
So
one
Plymouth.
that we've had for a while. The Plymouth one's a new one, so I'm just.
That's not a typo. I'm going to look in it because it says Plymouth. I probably think it's Plymouth, but because I thought I read it the same way too.
Maverick Energy Consulting. That for our windmill.
That is in for our natural gas.
Okay.
Is that way they help negotiate our natural gas rates?
We have to pay somebody to negotiate our natural gas rates?
That is something we're looking into. I asked around with several when I first saw it the first time, and the people, I will have to look back at I've got the notes from when I talked. They said it was a good deal. It benefits us, but
Kind of like
we should see.
hiring
like
that.
a co-op
Yeah.
thing in quotes when they negotiate?
Do we have two sets of claims and vouchers? You have two
It's
sets?
two different
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
Yeah. They were separated.
One's for
One for 1 month?
Our
Why do we have
vendors.
two separate ones?
one's for our vendors and one's for our
Yeah, one's for our vendors and the other one's
payments
for,
to our employees.
yeah,
Yeah.
like insurance, or
Oh, this is the salary ordinance. Oh, they're the salary
Yeah.
pay. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Make a motion to approve A, B, C as submitted.
I'll second.
Michael seconded from Melissa. Discussions?
We just had it.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? No abstentions. Motion carries. All right. Donations. Sam, if you would read those off.
I'll go ahead and I'll make a motion to approve items A through F for the donations. And then item A is donation from Mount Air Methodist Church of various school supplies, clothing valued at $150 towards Lake Village Elementary School. We've got another donation from Mount Air Methodist Church of different school supplies and clothing valued again at $150 to Lincoln Elementary School. And then Mount Air Methodist Church again with school supplies and clothing to Morocco Elementary School valued at approximately $150. We've got another donation from Ohio Pile Prince for spiritware sales in the amount of $28.65 for athletics. We've got another donation from Athletic Boosters in the amount of $3,500 to go towards football helmets and repairs. And we've got another donation from Bring the Change to Mind Club in the amount of $150 for the BC2M Club general needs.
That's
it.
You got that, Tyson? Motion from Sam, seconded by Tyson to approve the donations as discussed, A through F. Discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, personnel report. Where is that? Looks like we have 2 hires. Full-time cook, and what's that other Lake Village?
That is a Title I aid.
Okay, is that classified as a para? under
Yeah,
our,
it's classified as para, and this is the job that was created when we did the realignment through Title I. If you remember when Ms. Sinkowski went to the classroom, it freed up Title I dollars, and we were able to bring on a para.
and then the other two were the recommendations for the salary increases or hourly increases for these employees because they're both hourly.
Yes, and due to job realignment.
Yep, and we'll need to do job descriptions for that.
Yes.
All right, if you can have those, that's it on that.
Motion to approve the personnel
second.
report.
Second.
Tyson
Sorry,
already
Tyson already beat you.
Oh, I couldn't hear him.
Sorry, John.
Nice, that's fine. Motion from Sam, second by Tyson to approve the personnel report as discussed. Discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on down to personnel report. We have a volunteer junior high girls basketball coach, Jessica Kirby, and the second one is a volunteer baseball coach. I thought we already did this one. Jason Barnhart. Didn't we approve this?
He was not.
He was on.
He was not
Okay,
action
that's
last
fine.
time.
Yeah, he was
That was the only one from non-action last time. Okay, so we can do these individually if you would.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Motion to approve Jessica Keebler as a girls basketball coach
Second.
for volunteer. Make sure that's keyword, volunteer.
Thank you. You still second that motion?
Yep.
Thank you. Motion from Sam, seconded by Diane for the approval of the personnel report for volunteer junior high girls basketball coach. Discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Second one, I'll make a motion to approve Jason Barnhart.
I will second.
Motion from Michael, seconded by Tyson to approve personnel volunteer baseball coach Jason Barnhart. Discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on down to action item number 8. We have Adult Education Board. We have our second read for new policy 6140. Second read for our policy 6144. Second read for our policy 6250. And the second read for our policy 8420. Does anyone have anybody they want to nominate for the Education Board?
Did we find a volunteer?
I have
teacher?
one, but I'm not going to do it until I make sure everybody else is vetted. So it's my mother-in-law. She wants to do things. So I'd rather have you all find somebody, but
Did you find any teachers? Did you check with
I would
Pat?
love to have a guidance
I talked to
counselor, a
Pat. She
teacher.
said that Pat
or-
will tell you to do
I
it.
saw her at Dollar General the other day, and she said she
Well, it's
would,
not,
but
we
she-
don't have to have it today, but if I'd personally love to have a guidance counselor or teacher, or somebody from our school for adult ed. I mean, Tyson, you know all the teachers.
Work in progress, bring it back again.
Yeah, we'll still keep it
Could
on the
try to
agenda.
bring it back, but
All right.
I,
No rush.
We're
Table that one
tabling
then.
it.
Yep, we will.
all right.
I'll make a motion to table the Adult Education Board.
I'll second.
Motion from Michael, second from Melissa to table the Adult Education Board appointment. Discussion, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, motion carries. I'll reach out to Tim Lore as well to see if he has anybody. He's the president of that committee. And then the second reads for the other ones, I'll make a motion to approve all B, C, D, and E as presented.
Second.
Motion from Michael, seconded by Diane to approve the second reads for policy 6140, 6144, 6250, 8420. Discussions. All those in favor, raise your right
You have
hand.
a question?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, so new policy for B, and then just verbiage changes, just updated, technical corrections, stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
Nothing crazy and.
No, I actually think
Yeah, I think Sam went through them last meeting.
the new policy is the one that has to deal with Venmo and PayPal.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
'cause we were talking about that and getting our Wi-Fi,
Yep.
getting it set
Yeah.
up so we can make sure they can do
Yeah.
that stuff.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure. So,
So
okay.
just so it's clear, once we approve it, we actually have to send it back to Neola, and then Neola is the one that does the updates to our website. So it's not
Okay.
gonna be like automatically since
Take a week, 10 days, or
maybe even longer than that, depending on
well, that's
how
great.
it works.
But
Yep.
we can do it. But we passed it and it's.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But if you go to try to reference it,
It won't be there.
it won't be there.
Okay.
It might even say pending. I know that currently says draft, which is nice. Separates them. Any other discussions on that, Tyson? You good?
No, I'm good.
Anybody else? All those in favor of approving the policies B, C, D, and E, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment, there is none. Anybody else want to speak? No. A motion to adjourn or anything else for the board?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion, there you go, John.
John, you
I got in there.
Motion from Diane, seconded by John to adjourn. Discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand.
No,
Opposed?
I
Motion
almost raised my
carries.
left
Thank
hand.
you all for coming. Getting